Let's go. Good Woch, everybody. Motzei Shabbos Shira. Tremendous Shabbos. Tremendous Inyanim. Baruch Hashem. Of a gewaldige week coming. Talking about what bring today's Sicha is something which Rabbeinu used to do when he was very young. And we need to understand that which is nogea to us l'maisa. So without further ado, let me just bring up this. Let me share this Sicha with you, and let's take a look here. We're talking about Sicha Nun Zayin, 57. Because in Sipur, before Rabbeinu told us, should be Nebech Rusai, and he was a bachar, was a boy. Had a great fear from death, from dying. And he really was very anxious and was very fearful from dying itself, the actual act of dying itself. So what was his reaction? What did he do? How did he handle it? He used to ask from the Kodesh Baruch Hu that he should die on Kiddush Hashem. And he was doing it for a long time. He doesn't remember how long he was doing it, asking Kodesh Baruch Hu to pass away al Kiddush Hashem, to be killed al Kiddush Hashem. But this he knows, it was a long time. Maybe it was a whole year. And he did it. And he asked for this all the time. Wasn't any conversation, tefillah between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They didn't ask for that. She started al Kiddush Hashem. They should leave this world. Should be killed al Kiddush Hashem. And vis-a-vis his great fear and anxiety and dread of dying, this in itself was for him a mesiras nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. The fact that he would daven an HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that. Because his fear from that was so great. So by asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that should happen to him, that was his mesiras nefesh. But this was giving over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu his greatest fear. And from that I understood, and also says, that thing which is stronger than you. And a person is steeped in it. It could be anything. It could be from sitting by the computer all day long to anything else. Food, anything. That is the exact thing the person needs to break for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ki zeh iker avodosai. This is his main avodah. This is his entire avodah is that. That's the main thing he needs to do. Kmo shamu b'tenu zocham livocha, as Chazal said, b'chol meodecha, everything with all your might, means yesh lecha odom shechoviv olov mamono migufo. Some people, it says, b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol meodecha. You should love HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol meodecha. With all your heart means the two yitzam, the Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. B'chol nafshecha, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes your life away. V'chol meodecha, so that's the money. The two shitas. Rashi says, one shita is, we're talking about the money. It says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, before you said, v'chol nafshecha, even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu was to take your very soul away, how much more so for money? So Chazal said, yeah. Sometimes, some people, the money, for them, the money is more choshev than life, than their own life. V'chol modechas also means v'chol midah v'midah, and every single thing HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to you, have a moidah lo me'od me'od. Whatever it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with you, you should thank him very much. This is a sikha that includes really a lot of different inyanim. There's the inyan of Misa, the inyan of dying, the inyan of Mesiras Nephesh, Kiddush Hashem. This is very much negea to Torah Chafalef, which we're learning on Thursdays. Torah Chafalef, in on itself, talks about the kasha, the question that was asked in the heavens wherever it was asked. And the main kasha is, the crux of the kasha is, how is it possible to bring in Elokus into this world? This is where the kasha. And the Meiser Rabbeinu is not giving any answer. He gives an example of, he says there are certain things that confound us, like the knowledge and prescience and free choice. The Kadosh Baruch Hu knows everything that you will do, and you still have choice to do whatever it is that you choose to do. And Rabbeinu answers that particular kasha. This is a kasha that is related to by many Sfarim. And we mentioned that the Rambam speaks about it, and he explains it up to a certain point. At a certain point he says, Lo machshavosai machshavosechem, my thoughts are not on the same level as your machshavos. So the Ravid is asking over there, so why did you bother explaining all these explanations until now? The minute you get to the point where you're explaining, and you get to the point when you're saying lo machshavosechem, in other words, there is no explanation that we can comprehend. So why did you bother with everything that came before? In other words, the minute that you and get to the point that is beyond human understanding, at that point, everything you said before doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't count. So it's, what are we talking about? It's like this is what was before. So Lemaisa, what we're asking here is that in this world, the highest level of that the world was created for is tainug, is oineg, is pleasure. There's nothing that is higher than pleasure, and there's nothing that is lower than nega. Nega is an affliction. Oineg and nega are the same letters. You just switch the places. The highest level of oineg, the highest level of pleasure, this world was created for pleasure. The highest level of pleasure is to know Kadosh Baruch Hu. In this world, we are in a state where the Kadosh Baruch Hu is unknowable. And that is the thing that enables the Bechira, enables the choice. The entire Torah Chaf Aleph deals with taking the receptacles, the antennas, the mouth, the eyes, the ears, the nose, and sort of confiscating them from this world. Your mouth, make sure you speak only emes. Your nose, you have fear only from Hashem alone. Your ears should be dedicated to nothing except hearing what Chachamim have to tell you, to learn from them what you still have to correct and fix, to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world. The eyes, confiscate your eyes from looking at things you shouldn't be looking at. That is the way that you are able to get things down from Bchinas Makif to a Bechina of Pnimi. We also said that the inyan of Makif means that the totality of the knowable knowledge. When it is in a level, this knowledge exists all the time. Makif is the entire knowledge, both that which you don't know, which is still in a state of Makif, and that which you do know, which is inside your faculties. You are able to wrap your brain around it. The Makif includes all the light. The Pnimi is that part which you are able to comprehend. The Makif is that which you cannot comprehend it yet. And how do you bring it in? How do you remove the obstacles between you, your cognition, and that which is right now as of yet unknowable? The answer is you confiscate your senses, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, touch, from worldly inyanim. And you give them only to Kadosh Baruch Hu. You have a yearning that is leading to Kadosh Baruch Hu alone. And the thing is that you do get to a certain state. You do get to a certain nakuda that this world has no longer what to offer you. In other words, this is something we can already tell by ourselves where we are. And that is that there are certain things that even we would not subject ourselves to. I mean, you can go with with in a, in a certain with certain people, whatever it is. Some of them can be far from Yiddishkeit, far from Avodas Hashem, far from, and they would speak about politics. They'll speak about novels. They'll speak about movies. They'll say things which you're no longer shaykh with them. You're not even open to hear anything about that. I mean, if people go around chas v'chalila, using bad language, most of us, it's just like no. If you're going to be using this language, I mean, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you if you're using this kind of language. What happened here? You have confiscated your ears from hearing the way that people say about things which are leading away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's no longer an option for you. The same thing with the eyes, the same things with the nose, same thing with the mouth, and so forth and so on. So the whole thing here, the process is to confiscate, to take things away from this world and to give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the thing that brings in the makif. The thing is that it is a very important nekuda to understand that pleasure is something that is always preceded by distress, by a lack, by something that you don't have or you're suffering from. As they say, tanug tmidi eina tanug. Constant pleasure is no pleasure. He says, don't eat, as Kaela says, don't eat too much honey, lest you actually come to throw it up. The reason why rich people suffer and famous people, especially, rock stars, movie stars, whatever, they have so much of quote unquote good thing that it's just too much. It becomes too much. It's like having a barrel of honey. Have a bowl of honey, won't you? And there has to be a state of chisaron before you can feel the pleasure. By the way, that is the teretz, if we say that Benu says on the Simcha that the Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't make me a goy. He says, this is enough. That fact alone is enough to dance for 7 years from happiness. So why am I not dancing? Why don't I feel that simcha? The answer is because I don't feel the lack for it. I'm a Jew. I cannot experience what it means not to be a Jew and to yearn for it. I am. That's the way I am. How can we go in? This also explains why the more you get into Avodas Hashem, the more demands come on you. To the point that davening can be a problem. Getting out of bed could be a problem. Every single thing requires a Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh, as Rabbeinu explains over here, Rabbeinu said that Nefesh represents your Ratzain, represents your volition, your will, that which you want. Avraham Avinu says to Bnei Chet when he wanted to buy Maras Machpelah for a gravesite, for, to bury Sarah Meinu, he says, Im yeshas nafshechem. Nefesh is in itself a representation of a lack that needs to be fulfilled. It's a will. When you realize that which you lack, it creates the will to fill it. To give something up. That which you don't want to give up. This is the thing that is holding you hostage in this world. The thing that is holding me back is the fact that I would like a little more salt in my food. Whoa, aren't you really going too far? What? I don't have enough salt in my food? When he says, yeah. That's, Taibas Achille is not just wanting to eat a lot, but wanting to taste good. Taste good is Olam Hazeh. And the thing is that unbeknownst to us, one of the things that we don't realize unless we actually examine it on a daily basis, that is, where do we actually draw the line? And we say, I'm willing to give a Kadosh Baruch Hu this, I'm willing to give him that, I'm willing to give him that, I'm willing to give him that. But up to a certain point. From here on, I deserve it. Every person, this line of demarcation goes elsewhere. For some people is, I want to build myself a house, with the view is more beautiful. I already have a house, but I think I'm moving to a different house. What are you talking about? Well, listen, that is the minimum for me. What Rabbeinu is talking about, when he was a Bahar, he said that he had a very, very clear demarcation line. He was afraid to die. And he realized that, and he gave that away. Now, in all this forum, there's a very, very important nakud. In all this forum, they speak about this inyan, where a Jew, Tanya speaks about it, when it comes to the very end Nakuda, even a Jew that is very far from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is willing to be Moser Nefesh. Now, Moser Nefesh is not what the Muslims call, that committing suicide. Moser Nefesh is not committing suicide. Moser Nefesh is giving the Nefesh to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Giving the most precious thing that you have to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Everything that is going on with our lives that we want to give to Kadosh Baruch Hu, if it's difficult for me to daven in the morning, why is it difficult for me to daven in the morning? Because I have no patience. What do you mean I have no patience? I have no patience, no. Okay, but what does it mean? I have no patience. How many times I have to tell you? I have no patience. So what do I need to give a Kadosh Baruch Hu? I have to give a Kadosh Baruch Hu my patience. Or rather, my lack of patience. Whenever it is that you realize that this is something you don't want to give to Kadosh Baruch Hu, it could be, right now my expenses are, outstrip my income, or I'm not sure if the income is going to come, it's not going to come, whatever it is, and I want to be sure. I want to live without that fear. When am I going to have it? I'm not going to have it. A lot of it has to do with Parshat B'Shalach. That's what Am Yisrael came to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, when they went out of Mitzrayim, Paro came close. A lot of the things in this parsha have to do, at least in the beginning, the separation between Paro and Am Yisrael had to do with fear. People saw Paro coming, they were afraid, they were scared. I see my parnasa is diminishing. Maybe I don't see when my next income is going to come from. Fear. My health is so and so. Fear. Moshe Rabbeinu tells the people there are basically 3 stages on how you deal with it. The first thing, stop. Imdu. You stand. Don't give answers. We spoke about it throughout the week. Don't give answers. That state of unknowing is really the hallway that can lead you either to panic or to true Yeshiva Das. So first of all, just hold. Put things on hold. You don't need to know right now. Just relax, be miyashiv yourself. The second thing, call to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you go to daven in the morning, or whether you want to eat, or you want to eat, things that are better or more than you really should, or whatever it is, when you recognize that line of demarcation that says, okay, up to here, that's it. From now on, I'm not willing to give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu anymore. Hold on. Hold on. Meaning recognize it. I still don't want to do it. I still don't want to take my time davening. I still don't want to daven with koyach. I still don't want to connect my mind to the words I'm saying in davening. I still don't want to give Meiser. I still, whatever it is, I still don't want to do. I says, well, I need the money. I don't know. Maybe I won't have the money. How do I know? Wherever this line of communication, first of all, stop and look at it. The second stage is call out to Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is also part of Torah Chafalef. I mean, it says to bring things, the makif from Pchinas Ibur, that which is still unfathomable, into being a makif altogether. The way to do it is tza'oko. Tza'oko is a cry. You cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Crying out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is an expression of the Nephesh. That's what the Nephesh does. The Nephesh yearns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you take that which you don't want to give, and you cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about that. You ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu about that. Ribono shel olam, I don't feel like davening. I don't feel like giving Meiser. I don't feel like giving tzedakah. I don't feel like, whatever it is, I don't feel like. Or I'm dealing with my family and or with friends or whatever it is, and I get upset when I'm not treated with dignity, or people are speaking to me not nicely, and I really get all heated up. And a certain part of me, I go and I see people, I don't know, doing things that in and of themselves are not something who knows what. But there is a voice inside me that says, how dare they? I don't know, somebody's, davening in shul, and his voice is like screeching in my ears. I wish you would, shut up or something. What is this? And so inside myself, I have a feeling that I'm unappreciated, I'm underappreciated. Being that I'm not appreciated enough within me, that already breeds that kind of anger. Point is that you have to keep your ear to the ground as to where are you? What aren't you willing to give? What can't you give? Well, I can't have people speak to me, without COVID. I can't. It drives me up the wall. I can't take it. Or I can't give tzedakah. Or I can't give meiser. Or I can't pay my debts. Or whatever it is that I can't learn Torah. I can't force myself to learn Torah. I can't force myself to daven. Every person and whatever it is that he himself has that prevents him from giving it over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. First thing, stop, take a look and see what it is. Then talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about it. Ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let's say that we're talking about davening. I'm supposed to daven, I'm supposed to say the words. And I really, really, really don't want to say them. What I really want to do is not that I don't want to daven at all, chas v'chalila. But I want to get it over with. Let's go. And the idea of stopping. Just stop. What is necessary here? What is called for over here? What's called for over here is, first of all, recognize it. Don't let it be just a whim and give yourself into the whim and run. What is necessary for me right now is to give my heart and my patience to the prayer or to the Torah or to whatever it is that Mitzvah says that, just go on, go on. And I need to take that and give it to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Just taking a look, understanding what it is that I need to do, and then jumping in. At a certain point in time, what you need to do, Mati Tzakele, why are you crying over to me? The Be'od Ne'Yisrael V'Yisau. Speak to Ansha, move in. Move in. Sometimes you'll find that you can't move ahead. You said, I'm going to daven, I'm going to this, and then you end up davening not to it. Okay, but that will itself, by itself, that you wanted to think about it, you wanted to do it, you wanted to get to do it, that in itself is Avodas Hashem. This is serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wanting to do it. Because Rabbeinu said before, we learned in one of the Sichos before, nobody can say that he can serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vis-a-vis what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, nobody can say he serves Hashem. Befittingly to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. Vis-a-vis what the Torah is, nobody in the world can say that he's learning Torah. It's not possible. It's not, we're not there. Only what? We want. We want. This is why the Cheshbon Nephesh that we do, when we give it over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and when we sit before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we speak to him, the main thing that we need to ascertain is what don't we want to give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Beina says in the Sicha, when he was young, his life, so he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he should be killed with Kiddush Hashem. You can imagine how scared he was. By the way, I asked of Simcha Balev, my Rav, should I be davening that I should leave this world, or should be killed with Kiddush Hashem? He says, don't be nuts. Don't be crazy. Be normal. This is good for Rabbeinu. It's not good for you. Nevertheless, once we're already speaking about this, we might have opened, I told you this once before, I'll open it again. I myself went a couple of years ago, the period that I was like petrified of what it would be like to die, what it would be like, to be put in the grave and covered up. And I davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about it. And I got a few answers from HaKadosh Baruch Hu again, these kind of understandings. One of them was, first of all, it was, whatever you think it's like, it's not like that. That's answer number one. Now, it was whatever it is that you might be afraid of, it's not like that. Answer number two is, none of us really is a new neshama in this generation, which means that each and every one of us is already lying in dozens of graveyards. Do you feel that you're missing anything? You feel something is wrong? So that's not a kasha either. And then after a while, I got the third answer, which was, It's not like you are today, except you're going to be there. It's it's a different state of being. Just leave it alone. And the answer is, what do you mean leave it alone? This is that whoever it is that is taking care of you now is going to take care of you then. Why don't you worry about being now? Why aren't you scared just to be right now? What do you mean scared? I'm fine. Well, you're going to be fine there too. Because whoever is taking care of you now is going to take care of you then. So it's like, wow, I'm going to be. On top of that, there's a very interesting thing that my sister, when she lived long and prosper, told me that when she was sick, at a certain point in time, my father, all of a sudden, she said he came to her. She wasn't asleep. She wasn't. He came to her. She didn't see him. She said, but she had his voice. And she said that he touched her shoulder. And he said to her, I'm going to be with you all the way through. And he told her, it's not that terrible. In fact, he said to her, it's rather pleasant. Every one of you can take this to wherever it is that you want to. But she said, with that, all fear of the end of life left her. It's okay. Because ultimately, when you take a look in Shar Gilgulim, Sefer Gilgulim, whatever it is, and you find out how many different things a person has to fix, and he has to come again and to go down, to go up again, and all these things, and the Iburim and Gilgulim, and whatever it is that is a Baruch Hashem, we have Rabbeinu. Don't forget the Sicha that Rabbeinu said, what neshamas they have been waiting for thousands of years, for millennium, for me to come around. You that I'm going before you, he said, you have nothing to worry about. When you connect yourself to the tzaddik emes, you have nothing to worry about. Yeah, but look at me. Look what I'm able to do, what I'm not able to do. Where am I? Look at what happened to Am Yisrael throughout the Midbar, in the Midbar, before Yam Suf, after Yam Suf, whatever it is, they came forward and they went backwards. And afterwards, when they already crossed the Yam Suf, they already sang the most exalted song in the history of mankind. Okay? They come tomorrow, they have to drink water, it's bitter. They said to Moshe, we told you not to take us out of Mitzrayim. Why did? And again, it's up and back and forwards and backwards. Ibn Nosson says it's a must. Each and every one of us has to go to all these places where we feel we're incomplete, where we feel we are just like, we are so far from where we need to be. It's okay, because wherever it is that you are, especially when you're connected to the tzaddik, you fix. Because there are sparks of neshamas in all these places. But just being a Jew, but just having evolution, an urge, a ratzon to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're already taking them, you're already fixing them. Nosson says, in his days, he says, there are Jews in his time that were in Moscow. That was so far away from Yiddishkeit. And he says, in certain towns, certain villages, where there was maybe one Jew living with a whole bunch of goyim. And Nosson says, I don't want to talk about any Jews. I'm not going to talk more about them. He says, but you can imagine they're not even a Beinoni. They're not even a Beinoni. Like they have like a smidgen of Yiddishkeit. He says that's enough. With the koyach of the tzaddik, it's already enough. It's extremely important. Every single thing that you do, you're spitting blood not to do it. I mean, euphemistically, from getting up in the morning or at night or whatever it is that you do, to making brachas, to davening, to learning Torah, do anything that you do, and you say, "Whoa, man, I'm like so inadequate." It's not even funny. Maybe a little bit funny, but it's not. It's not even funny. It's correcting. It's rectifying. It's fixing. It's bringing things to where they're supposed to be with the koyach of the tzaddikams. So the Musar Haskell of whatever it is that we have learned today is simple. That which you don't want to give to Kadosh Baruch Hu, that is what you are called upon to give. That's your Avodas Hashem. The way to do it, stop, recognize it, talk to Kadosh Baruch Hu about, and try. That's it. And B'ezrat Hashem more shall be revealed. I don't want to tire you more, so B'ezrat Hashem we will stop here. Mitzvah Hashem, Monday night, we will all be meeting Mitzvah Hashem here, learning Sipur Maisis, and B'ezrat Hashem should all have a marvelous week. Be Matzliach with everything that you do, and